Hi, my name is Steve Podrakchik. I'm the CEO of Seattle Avionics, and I'm here to tell you about the very exciting new version 2.2 of FlyQ EFB. Let's have a look. First, this is a major update. It's taken us quite a long time to do it, and boy is it worth it. Let's take a look at some of the key features. The first thing that almost everyone will notice is that the mapping engine is radically faster, on the order of 3 times faster. I'll show you a demo of that in a moment. It makes a world of difference. We've also, in terms of mapping, added lots of new base layers on the map, so you have a lot of new options beyond sectionals and IFR maps. We've added 4,600 new Seattle Avionics airport diagrams. This is really important because although there are about 5,000 public use airports in the country, about 20,000 total including heliports, the FAA only publishes a little over 700 diagrams for airports, meaning that there are over 4,000 airports that don't have diagrams, so we filled in the gaps. We not only have the larger airports that the FAA has, but the smaller ones as well. We'll take a look at that. For those of you who fly search and rescue missions for the Civil Air Patrol or for the Coast Guard, you're going to love these new features. We had the grid feature quite a while ago, but this actually adds the ability to create what we think is the largest number of different search patterns automatically. Very, very slick if you're a Civil Air Patrol pilot. FlyQ EFB for quite a long time has been renowned for supporting many different ADS-B systems. With this one, we've added 3 new ADS-B systems, and I think you're going to really like it. Both high-end and very low-end. Kind of interesting. FlyQ EFB has a number of siblings. One is FlyQ Pocket on your iPhone or your Android phone. The other one is FlyQ Online, which works on your web-based system on a Mac or on a PC. What we're going to show you is a little bit how you can synchronize flight plan and pilot aircraft syncing between FlyQ Online on your Mac or PC, along with FlyQ EFB. Similarly, we've added support for the just announced AOPA flight planner's ability to send flight plans to other devices. So starting right now, you'll be able to create a flight plan if you choose to on AOPA's flight planner, click a button on your email, and get it imported into FlyQ EFB. Obviously, there are various bug fixes and performance improvements and better reliability. Let's take a look though at the mapping engine. This is the single biggest change, as I said, that most of you will notice. And let's now talk about the new mapping layers. The first one is the terrain mapping layer. You get to all the mapping layers by, as highlighted in this blue highlight on the left-hand side, you hit the Layers button on the map. Click on that and simply select Terrain, and you get the terrain layer. Just below that, you have the Roads layer, which is very high resolution, has the names of all the roads, and so on. And below that, you have the brand new aerial photography layer, which gives you super clear, high-resolution images. The new airport diagrams, these are terrific. As I said, the FAA provides about 700 of these. We provide for the rest of the public airports. In an airport like this one, this is my home airport, Payne Field, they actually have the FAA diagram and the satellite view, and now we have the new, in the middle of the screen, the SA diagram view. So let's take a look at that. Simply tap on it, and you see it like that, a little bit larger, very detailed, shows you where all the FBOs are, the fuel stops, and so on. A lot of great information. But as I said, the key point here isn't to just replicate what the FAA has, but is to work on much smaller airports. So here's an example of that. This particular airport, Bremerton National Airport, is considerably smaller than Payne Field. And it doesn't have an FAA diagram, but it does have a new Seattle Avionics diagram. Let's zoom in a little bit to the section that I highlighted here, the bottom half of it. The first thing you'll notice is in the upper corner, you have the numbers 1, 2, 3. Those are the different buildings, and then down at the bottom, you have the key to those. So you know, for example, that building number 1, as shown in the key down below, has both the airport diner and the terminal. You know that building number 3 has Avian Aeronautics and Avian Flight Center, and so on. Okay. Again, these cover 4,600, actually almost 4,700 airports in the United States. We'd really like your feedback on these two. When you display these within the app, you'll have the ability to submit feedback to us if you find something that doesn't look quite right at your airport. Clearly, we don't have people looking at all 4,700 airports, so we really do need your feedback here. As I said, FlyQ EFB is known for supporting a lot of different ADS-B systems, and this release really adds quite a lot of them too. So let's talk about a couple of them. A very, very nice unit for only $850 is this one. This is the Dual-X GPS 190. Okay, if you look really closely, it's actually a photograph of the X170, but they look about the same. In a package about the size of the older 170 unit, the 190 packs not just a single channel, but a dual channel ADS-B. And I think more importantly, it has an AHRS built into it as well. Again, it's only $849. It's a fantastic product. At the high end of the spectrum down below, we have one of the members of the L3 Lynx family. L3 has a tremendous number of items, I think something like 10 different units in their Lynx series, and providing that you have the Wi-Fi module attached to it, you can attach any of them to FlyQ EFB. This particular one in the screenshot is our highest end model, which just frankly made it look best on the picture here. At the exact opposite end of the spectrum from the Lynx is something that we're very excited about. This is the StratX, not Stratus, but StratX receiver. Now, we've supported the StratX receiver for a while. What's different here is that we now support the AHRS unit in the StratX. Now, what makes a StratX different than every other unit here is that it's not a product that you go out and buy online, you buy in the store. It's a kit. It's open source software, and you go to Amazon and you buy the various pieces and put it together yourself. You can get different pieces, mix and match, and so on. It's not for someone who's not used to putting a little bit of electronics together, but it's not particularly complicated either. We put one here together in the office in just a couple of minutes. What's great about the StratX is that it can be configured as a single channel, a dual channel, with a GPS, without a GPS, with an AHRS, and so on. Lots of different ways that you can configure it. And the total parts cost begins at about $150. So it's very, very inexpensive. There is simply no reason not to fly without an ADS-B receiver with the existence of the StratX. And we support it in FlyQ EFB. One of the great things about FlyQ EFB is that it's not a standalone unit. It's part of a family. It works with FlyQ Pocket on your iPhone or your Android, and now it works on your Mac or your PC using FlyQ Online, which is a web-based system. I'm going to show you just a little bit about that. Basically, what it's going to let you do is to look up airport information, weather, fuel prices, and so on, but also plan flights and flights that you plan on FlyQ Online, all the aircraft profiles that you produce, your pilot profiles. It's all automatically. You don't have to do anything for this to work. It's automatically synchronized with FlyQ EFB and with FlyQ Pocket. So let's take a look. All right, this is FlyQ Online from Seattle Avionics. I'm just using a Mac right now, and I've opened up my web browser. You can use whichever web browser, or a Mac or a PC, whatever you like. You simply go to flyq.seattleavionics.com. Again, just flyq.seattleavionics.com. By default, it attempts to use the GPS location, or approximate location anyway, of your computer to bring you all the nearby airports and to bring you the nearby map. You can also, of course, go to the search box, like in FlyQ EFB, search on things. If you want to click on an airport, like this is my home airport, I'll just click here. It'll show me the airport information for Snohomish County Airport. Again, like FlyQ EFB, you get the satellite imagery overview, you get the FAA diagram, you get the Seattle Avionics diagram. You can look through the comm and the runways and the nav aids. You can click on the weather tab and see your local, regional, and national radar. You can even click on those and see them large and animated. To go back to the map, you go to the tab on the right-hand side and select Map again. The METARs and the TAFs are there, winds aloft. You can look at procedures, like if I want to look at the RNAV GPS, runway 34 left, I can do that. If I want to look at the new SA diagram, that's in the list right here, just click on that, and so on. So very similar. If I want to know fuel stops, or rather if I want to know cheap fuel in the area, I can do something that FlyQ EFB doesn't have, which is go to the fuel tab, and since it knows I was looking at Snohomish County Airport, Payne Field, it shows me by default the nearest ones to it, but I'm cheap, so let's go with the lowest price. Now it will show me the lowest price for that area, so it looks like I can get fuel for my Piper as low as $3.99. Okay, very simple, very easy to do. But the point of this isn't to demo this product really. It's to show you how you can synchronize the flight plan between FlyQ Online and FlyQ EFB. So let's do that. The easiest way to do this is very, very simple. just go up to the search box and type in whatever you like. Let's do a flight plan from near where my parents live in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. As you can see, it's already pre-filled this for me. I did a flight earlier to the ORF area, and the V means plan this on Victor Airways. Now, if I wanted to, I could go to my Plans tab right here, and like in FlyQ EFB, I can fill out this form and basically do it however I want to, from, the to, and so on. But most of the time I prefer to go use the search box on the top to do it. I would point out one thing though. This is a feature not on FlyQ EFB yet, and it's a pretty big deal. It says add fuel stops, and checkbox meaning yes. So it will automatically use the lowest price fuel in the area to add fuel stops if necessary for a flight. You don't actually have to use a form to do that because I've set up my preferences to do that. So I'm just going to use the search box and do that. So I just hit the search box. So I'm going to plan the flight from Fort Lauderdale to ORF and plan it by Victor Airways. It will wind optimize the entire flight plan for me. It will search out fuel in the area, find me the cheapest fuel, and so on. The whole process here takes about 30 seconds. So now it's created the flight plan for me. And as you can see, we're flying along from southern Florida all the way up most of the East Coast. And if you take a look, approximately over here, it looks like it's planning a fuel stop for me. In fact, you can actually see that because CPC here, notice it's a magenta airport, meaning it's uncontrolled, is there. Well, I don't know anything about that airport, so I don't know if I really want to fly there. Let's take a look. So I'm just going to click here, and then I'll say map. So it zooms the map to this point. I could also just either double tap on the map or click on here on the navlog again to see information about it. I'm going to do that. So tell me a little bit about this airport. All right, so it looks like the weather conditions look pretty good. No weather at all. I'm reading my METARs, my TAFs. Has a couple of procedures. Also has a NOTAM though. Let's say that this NOTAM was something like some reason why I didn't want to fly there. So I want to fly somewhere else instead. All right. I'm going to go back. Let's take a look again at my navlog here. And I'm going to manually modify this. Let's say down below here, Twin Cities look like a better choice. I just pick this up, press and hold, drag it to Twin Cities. And I'll select Twin Cities over here. Take a look at the navlog on the right-hand side, on the left-hand side. The app is still live. I can still move the map, but it's modifying the navlog in real time. So at this point, I've just planned this flight, I've modified it, and to get it to FlyQ EFB, I don't have to do anything. I don't have to save it, I don't have to export it, import it, anything like that. It's simply automatically available in FlyQ EFB. So let's begin on the iPad, and I'll show you what that looks like on FlyQ EFB. So we just created a flight plan on our Mac using FlyQ Online, and now let's take a look at what it takes to get it into FlyQ EFB. It's ridiculously easy. I simply go down to the bottom, I select my Plans tab, and notice what pulls up. Automatically, without doing anything at all, the very first flight plan listed on the right side for recent flight plans is a flight plan that I just created. Notice it's in orange, so it means it's on the server. It's not available yet on the iPad. I simply have to load it. So I just tap here. It will load in the flight plan. Takes it just a moment to do that. As always, FlyQ reminds me to take a look and make sure I have the most recent data for it. I'll ignore that for now. And let's take a look at it on the map. Look at that. That indeed is the same flight plan that we just created a moment ago. Very simple, very easy. That's all it takes. There's no import, no export. It's just automatically synchronized, providing you use the same email address in FlyQ Online as you do in FlyQ EFB. It just works. Similarly, we believe that FlyQ EFB should not be, again, a standalone piece, but should work with other systems as well. So we're very happy to announce that the AOPA Flight Planner program, which can now send emails to people with a flight plan, is now fully supported in FlyQ EFB. So, for example, here I've already created the flight plan with AOPA's Flight Planner, and I've sent it as an email to myself. If you take a look at the upper right corner or so of this screen, there's a little button that says FlyQ EFB. Click here to open this route. All right. When I click there, what happens is if you do this on your iPad, it fires up FlyQ EFB. It feeds in, and you can see this on the search box at the upper left corner of the screen. It feeds in the flight plan that was created, and that flight plan is then automatically loaded into FlyQ EFB. So it looks like somebody at AOPA planned a terrific flight to Martha's Vineyard. Looks pretty. Obviously, there are a number of fixes and improvements. I'm not going to go through all of these because what I'd like you to do is, if you're interested in the details, you can see this in the pilot's guide, or you can pause the video and read them now. But I'll talk about a couple of them. One of the big ones is we fixed a problem where the procedures from one airport would sometimes show up in the list for another airport. And another one that's probably important is if you had a Bluetooth ADS-B device, there was a change made in iOS 9.2 that presented a problem there, and we corrected that. There's some computational and display problems that we fixed as well. And there's a number of other things, but again, if you're interested in the details, pause the video for a moment. One of the biggest things that we added in this release is a search and rescue pattern feature. So for people who are members of the Civil Air Patrol, members of the Coast Guard search organization, there's a lot that's here for you. We actually think there's a lot more here than on any system that we're aware of, including installed systems that cost $50,000 and including other iPad apps. We put quite a bit of effort into this, and we're going to show this to you. If you're not a Civil Air Patrol pilot and you don't care about any of this, you can stop the presentation at this point. I saved it for last just because of that. So the way that you bring up a search and rescue pattern is you first make sure that you're on the Plans tab, which I highlighted down the bottom of the screen. Once Plans is highlighted, you simply go to the Routing section. Now, the Routing section normally would display things like Victors or Jets or GPS Direct or something like that. When you tap on it, though, you can now see that a new item is added in the list. That item is Search and Rescue. Select Search and Rescue, and then go down to the next one, which is Pattern. The pattern lets you select from any of 9 different search and rescue patterns. Here is a grid search. The grid search is a specialized version of the parallel track search that's contained within any one grid. It works with whatever grid system you want to use, whether it's the gridded sectionals or cell or GARS. Works with any of these. You obviously have all the other ones too, as you can see down the bottom. You have parallel track, sector, expanding square, creeping line, circle. We even have 2 photographic patterns, which are pretty unusual, that we added here. One of the things that you'll see, which is particularly handy, is as you fill out the parameters for creating your search pattern, there's a very nice search and rescue preview window at the bottom of the screen. Now, not only does it show you over a nice photographic map, it has a green dot and a red dot. The green dot is where you begin flying, and the red dot, of course, is where you end. So it's very straightforward, very easy to see visually before you create the flight plan what the value of the parameters are, because these change as you type in. So for example, right now I'm looking at something where I'm beginning, and you can see this in the green dot here. I'm beginning in the northwest corner. Again, that's where the green dot is. If I'd rather do the same search, but instead begin in the upper right corner, which is to say the northeast corner, and instead of flying right now, if you look at the magenta lines, I'm flying vertical tracks. If I'd rather fly horizontally, I can change those. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to click on the starting corner, and then I'm going to change it to northeast, it was northwest, and the initial DTK used to be south, now it's west. So you can see in the preview window that we're now flying horizontal tracks, not vertical tracks. When you filled out all the parameters that you like and everything is created the way you want it to be, you can hit the Create button that's both at the top and at the bottom. By the way, there's more details on all of the search patterns, quite a lot, in the pilot's guide. So if you're a search and rescue person, take a look at the new revised pilot's guide, and there's about 15 pages, essentially a supplement for search and rescue. I'm not going to go into that detail here. Anyway, so we create the flight plan, and up it comes. It's a series of points, as you might expect. One thing that you may notice here is that if you tap in the upper right-hand corner, there's a small button that looks like a map. That displays that flight plan on the map and zooms it in appropriately. So here it is. Now, in this case, we're flying along in a sectional. What's a little odd here, though, is that there's no grid pattern on top of it. So if you want to put on the search and rescue grid, you go to the left-hand side of the screen, and you tap on the button that looks like layers. When you tap on that, some of the choices down below on the lower left corner say things like grid. If you select the grid, it displays your choice of grid. In settings, by the way, you can change this to use either, by default it's gridded sectionals. In settings, you can change this to display the cell pattern or the GARS. but by default it's gridded sectionals. So now gridded sectionals are on the map. You can see clearly in the middle of the screen SCA 140. That's where we told it to begin, in that cell. The problem is a sectional really isn't ideal for flying a pattern, right? So let's say they want to see this as aerial photography. In fact, this is one of the reasons why we added the aerial photography layer to the map. So if I click on aerial photography, the map changes, and of course I can zoom in quite a lot. In fact, this isn't even as far zoomed in as you can get. You can zoom in even further, but I wanted to be able to show you a couple of lines for the flight plan line itself, the magenta line. So that's what the search and rescue features are like. Again, there's a lot more detail, which is in the revised pilot's guide. So if you're a CAP pilot, please download that. And towards the end of the document is a supplement for search and rescue pilots. That's it. Thank you for taking a look at FlyQ EFB version 2.2. We are super excited about this version, and we think you will be too. Have a great day. For Seattle Avionics, I'm Steve Pedrachik.